Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and I wanted to do a video reacting to some of the changes that are rumored to be coming to the live version of the game compared to the beta that Diablo Immortal went through, because we hear things like, isn't the Crusader being nerfed compared to what it is in the beta? I heard it was super meta, but what is that nerf? So we're just going to go through and talk about some of the stuff so you have full context of the knowledge of how the game may be changing compared to how some of the content that you've consumed that was outlining the beta. Now, worth noting that this is all subject to change. It is not live in the game. We're just trying to keep you in the loop so that you are informed as soon as possible to have full knowledge and context on things. But if any of this changes or doesn't end up being in the live game, obviously I will do another video and make sure that you know as soon as I know. So we're just gonna quickly go through all of these changes that are rumored to be coming to the game when it hits live. Let's get into it. So for the Wizard, the Arcane Torrent is not going to be hitting near as hard as it was back then, is what we're kind of thinking. The damage getting nerfed from 273 to 136. Slow time also being adjusted a little bit to be stronger versus PvE situations, and players are going to be getting a big addition to their resistance to Black Hole. So Black Hole not going to be as good in PvP for the Wizard as it was in beta. Then for the Barbarian, let me switch that over here. So for the Barbarian, Cleave being adjusted to do a little bit more damage up front. So Cleave is that ability that you kind of sweep in front of you, and we're going to be hitting harder with the Barbarian on the actual damage of that, but the bleed effect of it was nerfed a little bit. Demoralize going to be a pretty strong debuff that the Barbarian has to unleash, and the damage of that is actually going to be increased to make it have a little bit more utility than just being a debuff. And Ground Stomp was also given the ability to charge up longer and also increase the stun of up to 3 seconds. Now that is super impactful. Grab was also completely reworked, and from what I can tell, it looks like the new version is either also letting you actually grab other players in PvP context, because you see it says monsters are grabbed for 4 seconds and players for 2 seconds. So literally in PvP, you can run up and like grab their Demon Hunter 1, 2 and throw them or something. That is crazy. I haven't been able to see that grab Barbarian skill in action, but that sounds super crazy to do, especially in PvP, if you can actually grab other players and kind of smash their teammates with them and then throw them. Then it looks like for the Monk, Fist of Thunder was adjusted a little bit, where you see there it says each enemy can be a teleport target only once every 5 seconds. So this may have been a problem in like PvP, where monks are just dashing around, teleporting with Fist of Thunder and slamming people down. So that was probably a little bit too strong. And then Deadly Reach is getting a little bit of a damage increase because maybe it was not hitting hard enough. So that is getting a little bit of a bump compared to the beta. Then it looks like the Demon Hunter getting a little bit of adjustment to the Knife Trap, where the damage is being buffed up. I like that because Knife Trap is a very high skill placement, super inconsistent way to get value and damage on the battlefield. And it's also probably going to be a little bit rough in PvP because obviously your human opponents are going to be smart enough to avoid those knife traps and kind of see where they are placed. So a little bit of a damage boost to that probably isn't a bad thing. And then Rain of Vengeance looks like it's being toned down a little bit. So we kind of saw from beta footage that the Demon Hunter's Rain of Vengeance was just like absolutely cracked ability and like insane boss nuking damage. So probably fair that gets a little bit of an adjustment to be pulled back, but it looks like it's not too harsh. So I'm sure Demon Hunter's Rain of Vengeance will still be slamming bosses down. And then it looks like the escape was changed a little bit, and they removed the part where escape can be activated a second time within 3 seconds after it kills the enemy. And then Spinning Chakram going to be getting a damage buff, and then also a damage buff on the return path. So both ways. So the Spinning Chakram works where you kind of throw it out and it does damage, and it also does damage to everything in its path on the way back, kind of like a boomerang mechanic. So both sides of that mechanic on the way out and on the way in are going to be getting a damage buff to try and keep it in line with some of the other Demon Hunter skills to maybe give them more options to choose from. And then the big one that we got to get to, because this is the one everybody is curious about. Obviously, Crusader was absolutely cracked in the beta, one of the best performing classes just overall. And a lot of it was because of this ability called Draw and Quarters. So mount a Celestial Warhorse for 5 seconds, dispelling all movement impairing effects, increasing your movement speed by 60%, and replacing your primary attack. with Holy Chains. Holy Chains will bind up to 8 nearby enemies, but that's going to be probably adjusted down to 6, dragging them as you ride and repeatedly dealing that damage is being nerfed from 213 to 186. So probably a fair change. It was a lot of players felt that Draw and Quarter was the best ability in the game, just with all of the utility and movement and grouping up and damage that it provided as far as consistent performance. So probably fair that it's going to be adjusted slightly to be chaining a little bit less enemies and doing a little bit less damage. Then Consecration, going to be getting a little bit of a damage nerf. Not too bad though. That's a pretty, it was probably just overperforming a little bit compared to other skills in the game. So a small tune there. And then Shield Charge, the same thing, kind of nerfing the damage there a little bit on that. So probably noticing the Crusader was really overperforming compared to other classes. So adjusting some of this stuff down a little bit. And then Sacred Chain actually getting a buff here where we throw Holy Chains that bounce between enemies, stacking up to 6 targets and dealing up to 590 now instead of 489. The chains also can stun enemies for 8 seconds, but are dispelled by damage, and the duration reduced to 3 seconds on players, obviously, or that would be way too crazy in PvP. So Crusader is still going to be a very good class, even if all of this stuff goes through, but they are getting tuned a little bit down because they were probably a little bit too strong compared to some of the other stuff in Diablo Immortal based on some of the feedback from playing the beta. And all in all, I don't think this is really going to adjust my current content and rankings and data that I've been trying to put together in terms of formulating opinions around the release of this game. I think we already kind of had a good understanding, kind of baking some of these changes into it. But I did want to take the time to do this video so that you have full context. If you did not play the beta, you know exactly what was going on in terms of all of the changes that we kind of expect to see from the beta versus the live version. But most of the content that has already been produced on my channel has been taking this into account. You just didn't see the actual text document behind some of that reasoning. So I definitely wouldn't let something like this dissuade you from playing the Crusader. That mount of the steed ability, Draw and Quarter, is still going to be ridiculously strong. It's still going to have so much utility in terms of scouting the map and like the movement speed. All of that stuff didn't get changed. I don't see anything on here that is so critically crazy compared to the beta that you should be like not playing a class that seems a lot of fun to you and a class that you're passionate about playing. So this was mainly just to arm you with knowledge how things have maybe changed throughout the time from beta to the live version. So boom, that does it for this one. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of context of some of the stuff that may be changing as we transition from some of the alpha and beta stuff to the game actually launching in early June, so that you are equipped with the knowledge of some things that may be performing differently based on the beta experience versus the live experience. And I will make sure to keep you in the loop if any of this changes, or if any of this doesn't go live in the game, or if we see more balance changes before the game launches. But I expect that to be pretty rare. I mean, the beta is already over, and this is kind of all that we've heard about in terms of changes that are rumored to be coming. So it's probably going to be mostly what we saw in the beta. We'll see other adjustments maybe that come through. Maybe different currency prices or stuff are adjusted, and as soon as I know about it, I will make sure you have that knowledge as well. So you know the drill. All the links you need are down below to subscribe and be a part of the community and the massive gaming team we're putting together to crush this game on launch. And I will see you soon. As always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.